If you're a lover of old computer cases like I am, and I'm talking about the beige variety, you're putting together an old vintage retro computer build or maybe a sleeper PC, you know that the cases, these beige cases, are kind of hard to come across, even online. If you're trying to find one that's brand new in box. Pretty much the only options usually are eBay, and even there, the offerings really aren't all that great. Most of the time, you just kind of have to keep looking and get lucky, basically. But I was tipped off on a popular online discussion board for old computer nerds like myself that Newegg was actually selling a beige computer case, brand new in box, and so it's this Foxconn case. And I got it for a little less than, I think, $90. That includes shipping and taxes and all that. So it says David's own on it, which is, I don't know what that means. I think the model is A-P4F. It is a Foxconn is the brand, I believe. So I wanted to share this with you all in case you're interested maybe in getting one of these yourself. I don't know how much inventory they have, so I can't tell you how long this will actually remain available on Newegg. My guess is that they only have a limited quantity. I don't know if practically anyone that here in the States that is still making these beige cases available. People just don't buy them anymore and haven't for a while. So I thought we could open this together and see what we can do with it. I'm thinking it would actually make a really good sleeper PC, I think, but I might do actually move my components from my ultimate Windows XP machine into this computer and use it that way, because I'm quite happy with the setup that I have right now with my modern computer system. So I think that's the way I'll go with it. So let's open it up and see what we got. And it feels, the first impression, it feels pretty solid. So let's get this thing out somehow, safely. Okay, let's get this plastic off. Now I really don't know how old this computer is, how old this computer case is. Could have been sitting on the shelf for years, could be practically brand new. I don't know its history. It looks perfect though. You never know when you get a case shipped what's going to happen to it. But arrived quickly and seems to be in great shape. It's even got a bit of plastic up here in the corner. Nope, covering the whole side. That's so satisfying. This whole side is covered in this stuff, this clean stuff. Ooh. So clean. Alright, so I'll show you guys the back. Now this case would actually make, I think, quite a good sleeper, if we're going to use it for that purpose. At least I'm not going to immediately, but I might down the line. It looks like you've got, a spot here for, and there's actually a fan in here. Maybe an 80 millimeter fan. It's got, this grid down here. So probably pretty decent airflow for an old style case. I am feeling that it's very sharp though, just inside here. So even that is, perfectly vintage. But definitely if you get this case, do be careful because some of these edges are extremely sharp. And you can kind of expect that with these older cases in general. Something else I wanted to point out about this case actually is that not all of these old cases have these, have some holes on the side for airflow, and this could be important if you've got your graphics card down here, and it's just a standard type where it kind of blows some of that hot air out into the case. this could be a way of getting rid of some of that heat. So not all vintage cases have this, and it's nice that this one does. Plus, I'm thinking it's gonna be fairly easy to get the side off. It's got this nice rubber screw here, and hopefully this just pulls off. Maybe not that easy. Well, definitely not as easy as I'd hope. It's interesting if it's only got one screw up there in the top corner. Looks like I'm gonna have to mess with that a little bit on my own to make sure I don't damage anything in the side panel. But hopefully, once I got it figured out, hopefully it's not that difficult to take off. That's kind of always an issue, even with ATX cases, is that the side panel is difficult to get off. But let's take a look at the front again. Just I think a really kind of attractive, nothing too special. And nothing really, stands out too much about it. And I kind of like that about this case. It's just, if you want just a plain beige box, this case fits that bill quite nice. So it's got a little space down here for a badge logo, whatever you want to put down there. Tiny little reset button. I don't know about that, but nice power button. And it does have holes in the front for decent airflow. So I will figure out how to open it up, and we'll take a look at the inside. So it turns out that you do actually need to take the front of the case off first in order to get the side panel off, which is kind of interesting. It happens sometimes in these older cases, but if this is up against here like this, you see this hole. This peg on the front of the case that holds the front on actually goes through that hole, so it literally holds on the top right corner of the side panel. So you just have to kind of get in there, use your fingers, and remove that front, and then you can take off the side panel. Then might take a little bit of work, but you should be able to then get it open like that. So that's a little strange, but I put this on and off a couple times, and actually once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. And yeah, it should be pretty easy to close up. It's got these little hooks at the bottom that go into the base of the case, so easy peasy there. Looks like we've got a little box full of goodies here. It's kind of nice that they use a twist die to keep this in place. Nice little I/O panel there. That's pretty substantial metal. You don't see that too much. Let's see what we've got in our box of goodies here. Just some screws and basically the little things you put on the sides of your drives and so forth to get them securely in place there. It's always nice to have the screws though, and you've got the mounts in there. It looks like they've already got some mounts up in here, so got ATX, ATXM. It's got it tells you where the micro ATX is and the mini ATX, so it's all ready to go basically for any kind of modern motherboard that you might have. And again, got I guess it's an 80mm fan back here. I might end up replacing that. I don't know, maybe with a bit nicer fan. Okay, so somewhat unfortunately, you can see the holes here, which allows the air to come in through the front. And actually, I took the front panel off. So I took the front panel off because it kind of came off when I was taking the side panel off. But it's got a lot of holes in the front, which is good, for airflow, and it's got these holes actually in the metal part of the case. It looks like there's a little fan down here that has come loose. I think if we just remove this plastic cage, we'll have access to a few holes down here. It is unfortunate that there aren't any holes here though. I was kind of hoping that this perforation would go all the way down and there would be plenty of airflow, and I could just put a big fan in here, maybe even like a 140mm fan in there. I don't know. Maybe I could even, it's a pain, but maybe I could even drill some holes or put the fan up here. I don't know. A bit of good news though, and I was a little concerned about this, the gauge in the metal. I was kind of expecting it to be maybe a bit flimsy, aluminum, and because well, it could be that it was recently manufactured. I don't know, but it is actually quite solid. Not as solid as some older cases that I have. I've certainly come across more solid, but this is a pretty good gauge. I mean, this is definitely more solid than your average case that you'll find today. So that's good. I mean, this is nice solid metal. So it definitely has that kind of really solid old style case feeling to it. So that's quite good. I just wish that these holes actually ran all the way down. And you can see where you can put a fan up in here. Maybe another 80 millimeter or something like that. So I'll definitely do that. And it's got a spot down there for the speaker. And there's a speaker in there. But I was really kind of hoping I could put a much larger fan in front here. But I think since I'm not actually going to use this as my primary, say, sleeper PC build, but just for my Windows XP build, I think that should be plenty of airflow. Alright folks, so I put the front panel back on, as you can see, and again, the plan for this computer case is to move my Ultimate Windows XP machine over here, and so I will plan on making another video where I've done that, or I'm doing that, and you can kind of see it in action. Now, in order to incentivize you to come back, I do have some interesting plans for this case, because it is pretty plain on the front, so I thought one of the ways I could kind of spice things up a little bit is actually to install this. It's basically a hard drive caddy. It's meant as a cooling caddy. It allows airflow through it, but it also has a temperature gauge on it, which is kind of neat. So not exactly as cool as a megahertz turbo display, but it's going to look kind of like that. So give it that kind of retro look to it, and it does serve a nice little useful function of telling me, hey, is this computer getting sufficient cooling or not? And it's just kind of cool. So do check back soon, and I will have this all set up and running.